Now I'd like to give you some of the nuts and bolts of doing empathy with others. And as I said in the last video, that a true empathic connection can only happen when the other person feels understood, not by our sense of that we understood correctly or adequately, but the other person feeling that. So in this process, it's really a matter of taking our best guess, our educated guess about what the other person might be feeling, and then being open to seeing if it was a hit, if we got it, or a miss, and that we didn't get it. So when we're being empathic, we need to be open and aware of the feedback loop that we get, and how the other person responds to our best guess. Um, Empathy is such a powerful thing that if someone is, say, if they're angry, and we can really convey our understanding and appreciation of how their being angry makes sense given the circumstances. Um, that when the other person feels understood, you can visibly see them calm down. You can see the anger melt a bit. Um, and that's one of the clues that we can use, that we hit it right, that we got it right. But conversely, if we convey our what we think we understand, and the person escalates and gets even more frustrated or more angry, that can be a sign that it was a miss, that we didn't really understand uh, what the person was thinking or feeling. Um, Same thing with someone who's feeling down or depressed. Often, if we can convey our understanding of that, you'll see the person brighten a little bit when they feel understood. Often these are very subtle kinds of behavioral shifts, but they can really let us know that we're on the right path. And similarly, that if we convey our understanding and the person looks deflated or kind of wind knocked out of their sails, we can assume that that was probably a miss, that we didn't quite get it, and that we can then turn back to the person and try to understand where we didn't understand. Um, so we're really tracking moment to moment kinds of shifts in the other person's behavior and their attitude and their feelings, and it can really give us information then about whether or not we're on the right track or not in creating an empathic correction. Um, an example that might illustrate this, imagine that there's a mother and her 4-year-old son in the park, and it's a nice day. The little boy is playing with another little boy in the sandbox, and the two moms are sitting on a park bench talking with each other and enjoying the day. Um, and the little boy says, "Mom," and Mom interrupts her conversation momentarily and looks up at him and sees that he's covering his legs with sand. And she smiles and says, I see you. And the little boy goes back to playing happily. That was a hit. Um, the boy needed for his mom to see him and see what he was doing, and she acknowledged that, and that gave him what he needed, so he was freed up to go back and play. But let's imagine that the little boy says, "Mom," and she is engaged in conversation with the other mother, so she just looks over at him and doesn't give him much of a response. Um, and he doesn't feel like he got the response that he needed, so he says, "Mom," and it's easy to understand the moment where Mom thinks, "Oh, he's not being polite, he's interrupting, I'm talking with this other person." or he's being too demanding, or he's just being needing attention, and she decides that she's not going to respond, so she keeps talking. The little boy gets more and more upset and keeps yelling, "Mom, Mom, Mom," and understandably the mom gets more and more frustrated. Well, that's an empathic miss. It didn't happen there. I think that uh, these moments can be avoided when we look carefully at our own response, and rather than making assumptions about what the other person needs, that we're open and ready to respond. In this instance, it really didn't take much for the mom to look up and acknowledge the boy, and I think it's so common that we assume things about others' behavior that may not be true, and only leads to an escalation of the situation rather than being finished with it, so that we can go back to our own activities. Thanks.